Hey Scorpio, welcome to you. All right, so for your reading today, I'm getting a very strong message from Spirit, which is actually connected into, oddly enough, the Disney movie Aladdin. So if anyone here who's watching this has been watching Aladdin the last couple of days or has been thinking about it, this is definitely your message. But when I first sat down right before this to allow the kind of energy to start flowing through and to allow the messages from Spirit to start coming in, the first thing they showed me was a genie lamp. And from the genie lamp then unfolded this whole kind of the reading we're about to do with a lot of themes coming from this movie Aladdin. So if you haven't watched it, definitely check that out. The original or the live version remake, both are amazing. Feel free to check those out. But so Spirit first showed me a genie lamp with like kind of the magical like winds or dust coming out of the genie lamp's like spout. And I heard the phrase hoping for a miracle but not seeing one. It's almost like, Scorpio, you've been like wishing like you would with the genie lamp, but like wanting a miracle, but it just doesn't seem like you're either seeing it or that it's clearly visible to you. I'm almost getting the sense that there may be some sense of sort of abundance around you, but I don't think you're fully seeing it. The other bit that came through, the genie lamp also transformed for someone into a teapot. So I did see that for someone as well, like the teapots you'd have with the handles and the spout. So that specifically was coming through for someone here. Okay, and if that's for you, this is definitely your reading. But yeah, so Spirit has been like touching on different parts of the Aladdin movie for whatever reason, in kind of the build up to your reading here. There's something around the intro, one of the intro songs or one of the songs in Aladdin. There's a few of the lyrics that they had me like research and that I've looked up and I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But I feel like this reading today is getting ready to be about you hoping for a miracle and not seeing one, kind of like in Aladdin's story, where it's this sort of like rags to riches story. You know, where Aladdin has only ever known his life living in the street, and then through a series of events that happens in the movie, in a series of good deeds, he ends up becoming like, yeah, I don't know if you hear that. Yeah, he ends up becoming a prince, okay? And so I feel like the story is around the richness of his storyline. It actually doesn't have anything to do with his actual physical riches, although that comes with it, is what I'm hearing Spirit say. But it's actually about the progression of his character and his story throughout the movie. That's the most important part of this, okay? And I feel like that's what Spirit is trying to say to you, Scorpio. It's like you're in your own sort of like, I don't know, plot line of your own story of your life, where that's being sort of like built out, and there's a series of like either decisions you're making or different like scenarios or events you're encountering that are kind of pushing you into this like growth, like character development, as we'll call it, because that's what it would be in terms of this movie. But that's the metaphor and analogy that Spirit is giving for your reading, that feels really, really important. Now I'm going to read and potentially maybe even sing a couple of the lines here in this Aladdin song. So it's the one called Arabian Nights. So they had me look this up. I have the lyrics sitting here on my laptop, and I have my laptop right here to the right hand side. But there are a few lines that they wanted me to point out. There is a line here that says, a series of lines that says, do you want me to go this one first? Okay, hold on. I got to switch up. There's an order they want to do this in. Okay, so there's a part here, and please know I'm not a singer. I'm going to attempt to sing just a little bit of this, and then I'm going to read the rest. Okay, but I feel like this is really important. They want me to like kind of attempt it, which apologies if this isn't your thing. It's like not mine either, but that's what they want me to do. Okay, so there's a couple lines here that says, like Arabian nights, like Arabian dreams. This mystical land of magic and sand is more than it seems. Okay, so in that line, there's something really specific here around, like, I just get the sense that you're not fully seeing clearly what's around you right now and sort of the richness I feel like that's in your environment. There's also a connection into this with the previous reading I did for you, Scorpio. You can even check that out. The last reading I did for you was around being focused on your money, okay, and on your energy and your energy expenditure specifically, which for some of you did come through as money. And so it's interesting that this is coming through because I feel like there's something here, something really like magical, and I feel like there's something happening that's kind of building up in your energetic field around trying to bring you the richness in your life that you deeply desire and in a lot of ways deserve. But I feel like there's some sort of like character development that's happening right now. And so let me read this line because this connects in, especially with the money part, okay? But it says, there's a road that may lead you to good or to greed through the power your wishing commands. Let the darkness unfold or find fortunes untold. Well, your destiny lies in your hands. Okay, so in those lines, like, I feel like there's a series of decisions or choices you're having to make, which are putting you kind of in a spot morally to decide which road you want to take. The road to good or the road to greed, especially in the pursuit of money, if that is something that you're currently actively pursuing, which seems like a theme for you right now, Scorpio. And so I feel like there's something that's tied into your relationship with money that's being like revamped right now very strongly, and how to like almost, how do I say that? I feel like purify the ways that you kind of approach money or approach like energy forms of any sort, but this is coming through specifically as money, especially with that greed part of like with the purity of your wishes and like, is it actually serving you? And is it serving, I'm hearing, your community, or is it serving for you to be in service? Okay, so there's a wanting to purify your like wishes to hopefully, I think, take the road of good, okay? But I think there's something here where you're kind of at a crossroads, and there's a line here that says, only one may enter here, one whose worth lies far within, a diamond in the rough. And I feel like you're the diamond in the rough, Scorpio, of right now you're in this sort of like polishing, kind of being like pressurized process for you to make a decision about where you want to direct your energy, the path to good or the path to greed. It's the same like choices that Aladdin ends up in multiple times throughout the movie, okay, in that movie. All right, so apologies for the terrible singing. I'm like not a singer. But for whatever reason, they felt like it was important that I was moving my throat chakra because someone else is also trying to do that here who's watching this. So I don't know, whatever. I just have to do it sometimes, so I'm doing it. It also helps with some of the channeling. But yeah, so that's the line coming through. If you feel like that resonates for you, if there's something you're pursuing right now in terms of money, in terms of energy, if any of this message resonates with you, this is definitely your reading. We're going to go right into it. And if for any reason you feel like it doesn't, feel free to, like, it's not a problem. Just go check out one of the other readings for one of your other signs. Okay, so there's another line in here, and I just want to make sure I have that right. Yeah, there's another line in here that says, when the winds from the east and the suns from the west and the sand in the glass is right, there's something around divine timing about the sand in the glass, almost like the hourglass you have. I think that's what it's called, the hourglass with the sand. They're saying something around like this is around divine timing, and there's something about the slowness of how that sand is moving through. It feels like really, really important. And the sand from the glass is right. No, they're saying the timing is right for whenever this like abundance is trying to come through, whether it's financial abundance or other forms of energetic abundance that you're wishing for. Again, I feel like you're hoping for a miracle, but you're not seeing one. But I feel like you're in the process through character development of like building out your riches, and the real task here is how to allow the richness in your life. Okay, because something that's really striking me here is that Aladdin, you know, has never, like, if we're using that metaphor for you, Scorpio, okay? Aladdin is a character who's not used to, well, having things, okay? So I think it's really important, and I think what Spirit is trying to say, that as sort of more of that sort of abundance comes in of any form, that you're actually able to like sustain and hold it, right? That you're not kind of in this same like survival strategy that you've been in. And so I think that's why this pressure point is coming up around like choosing greed or choosing good, like the lyric said, of like, you know, are you able to actually hold this and hold this energy and hold the abundance that Spirit wants to send you? Or is it something that will be wasted away on things that kind of like survival strategies that you may have, that are keeping you kind of just stuck in a way, okay? And not able to see the full flow of energy that you'd want, okay? Because I get the sense if you take the path of greed, that energy well, that financial well, whatever it is, the fountain, the well that's giving that abundance, it dries up, okay? All right. I have no idea what the heck this reading's about to be. Like, this is crazy. So let's get into it. All right, Spirit, is this the deck? Okay, let's get into what's going well for Scorpio. And this reading applies for the next 2 weeks from whenever you're watching this, but this energy is permeating. I do feel that. Do you want this card? Yeah, Two of Pentacles. Look at this. Yo, Two of Pentacles. Check it, check it. Did I not talk about a crossroad? So twos in tarot speak to decision points. They speak to crossroads. The Two of Pentacles speaks to that as well, okay? So I'm seeing that as well as the Two of Wands in my mind's eye, which is what was really coming through strongly within the lyrics of that song. But it's exactly that. It's almost like, because in the Two of Wands, you traditionally see someone, in the traditional version of the card, you'd see someone who has like two wands and they're standing kind of on a building and they're looking out over the landscape, kind of like as if you were looking over the Arabian dunes, right? If that's the analogy we're using. And so this Two of Pentacles here is speaking to the reason we got the Pentacles specifically is because of everything I was just saying around finances, financial, and around you having to make a decision and choose a way. This is also talking about where your priorities lie. Okay, and I feel like if you're watching this message, there's a good chance that you pick the road that actually leads to abundance. But I feel like right now there's sort of an up in the air energy. I'm seeing the Two of Pentacles being like juggled and balanced, of like which direction you're going to take and which direction you're going to go. But I feel like the potential here is very, very strong. Do you want this deck? Okay. So let's keep going. So there's a lot of potential. That's what's going well. There's a lot of potential in this energy for you to have the things you want. But I feel like there's a question around your either like motives or where it's coming from, or, you know, are there survival strategies that are still pushing you in ways towards things that don't actually align with the type of abundance and richness and happiness and joy that you're looking for. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. What's on top, Spirit? What else do you want to say about this? Is this the card? This one? Okay, hold on. Oh my gosh. Yo, Queen of Pentacles. Like, I can't make up this. I can't make these messages up. I really can't. Like, Queen of Pentacles, okay? Another pentacle here. Again, this is exactly all the things we're talking about. But I want to point out the Queens of Pentacles and the Queens in Tarot in my form of reading, which is with a matrifocal lens, are the highest form of the suit cards. Okay? Of the, sorry, not the suit cards, the court cards, although there is something around suits here. Yeah, I mean, I sense that. There's something around, the show suits. So if someone's watching that show, like this message is definitely for you. This is definitely like part of confirmation. This is your reading if you're watching that show. This is also talking about, I'm seeing someone wearing a suit. So this is talking about work for someone. And I feel like there's a decision you're having to make right now around which direction to pursue. And I feel like there's something in this reading that's here for you that's going to provide some additional guidance is what I'm getting. Now, what I was talking to, is that it? Okay. Let's keep going. I said suits for a reason. Okay. So there's, because they had a lot they wanted to say on that. Okay. There's also I was talking about the court card. So I read this as the highest form of the court cards. And that's because a lot of people believe, okay, I'll talk about that. A lot of people believe, because of the programming that's out here, particularly tied into the systems of oppression and patriarchy. A lot of people believe that the way to abundance is through your external realm, okay? And they actually, there's this kind of idea out here that if you change what's in your outside world, it'll somehow change the way you feel inside. And that's not actually the case. When we come into deep healing, we understand that our inside is what's actually like projecting to our outside world. So it's actually in reverse. So let me repeat that again, because this is something that I feel like is so incredibly important. It's one of the biggest kind of illusions that exists on this planet right now, is this idea that like our external can somehow make us feel different internally, but it actually cannot. Our external world is simply a projection of what's inside of us. So once you understand that, and you understand, well, I don't like something out here, you just have to look in here to find it and to figure it out and to heal it. Once you heal it, then this will change, okay? So as humans, we're actually big old projector machines. That's actually how that works. So I needed to say that for someone specifically, because especially if you're trying to go after the type of like financial or energetic abundance of any sort that you're looking for, it's in love, whether it's in love, relationships, connections, familial connections, you know, at home, wherever this applies for you, this Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles tells you the route to get there. It's inside, okay? The healing has to come from within. And that's why we keep talking about Aladdin, because Aladdin had to go through the character development, the internal healing and changes that he needed to be able to get to what he thought was a miracle in the end. You know, there was like a series of miracles, but actually was his outside then changing to reflect his inside, which is that he was a prince all along. Okay, he was a prince all along inside, but he didn't have those feelings before. See what I'm saying? Okay, so it's a much like deeper. I mean, this is a much deeper message than just what's on the surface here. And I think that's the case for you right now, Scorpio. So if you've been going after, chasing after, have been like really focused on whether it's abundance of any sense, I'm just going to call it abundance, but know that money applies within this, okay? It's important to know that the way to get here is through healing internally. It's a feeling you have to have in here before it starts reflecting out in your external world. So if you're like, well, why don't I see, you know, the abundance I want outside of me yet? Well, that is because there's some deeper level healing, growth, character development needed for that to reflect outside. Look at this, 3 of Pentacles. All of these cards are Pentacles. Yo, like, okay, look, 3 of Pentacles. Look, and part of it is I was talking about this idea, because this card speaks to like building. It speaks to creation. It speaks to structures. It speaks to it being in community as you're seeing this. So when I was talking about, and Spirit was talking about that pathway of like, you have a choice. Only one may enter, only one version of yourself may enter here. The one who's in survival strategy mode, or the one who has done the deep healing to be able to manifest and create the things that they want. This path and process, okay, the kind of going good path, which is relative, okay, in life, but we're just going to keep using that for the sake of this reading, okay? I'm just linking it to your own abundance and the feeling of abundance that you will have that will then be reflected out in your external world, okay? But the path to this is not also through greed and hoarding. You notice how this person is like sharing with others. There's a community and group aspect here. Okay, so I want to really point that out for someone here. If you'd been thinking of that, like I just need to hoard my money or hoard my energy, like that's also what that does is it actually blocks you. It cuts you off from the flow of abundance that wants to find you, okay? And that's coming through for whatever reason with the limscat right now. Okay, it's almost like if you shut down a part of this, well, it can't flow correctly. And no, it doesn't loop through here. It just stops. Okay, so there needs to be an outflow and an inflow. Okay, so if that means that you're like supporting, again, giving your energy, being of service, like I was talking about, like that's ultimately what that means. Like that abundance comes in when you're also able to like allow that flow. That flow needs to be there. That's why we're talking about the Two of Pentacles so strongly, because there's a flow to the Two of Pentacles within that lemniscat. There's a flow to it. Okay, and we cannot like cut off part of this just because we want to enter survival strategy where we hoard things. That's a survival strategy. Okay, when you realize that the universe is abundance, we live in an abundance matrix, and it will flow into you. Like you give out, what you give out comes back to you, then all of this will set into place the way that you want it to, okay? And I think the thing is, it won't just be that you have the money and now you have it and now we're in, a Donald Duck, Mr. Scrooge moment, okay? I'm seeing that image of like him with all his money and like he's alone basically just swimming in his money and like, but the thing is, he doesn't have the level of connection, right? He doesn't have the friends. He doesn't have the connection. He doesn't have kind of those elements that actually is what richness means. It's all of that too. It's not just the material, okay? Want this deck? Okay. Let's keep going. You want this card? Okay. Like okay, look at this card. Okay. It's called Time. Okay. It says presence. It says self-awareness. Do you see what I'm saying here? Self-awareness. Okay. The other bit, which I love why I'm laughing, is because this card, the Time card, which is around the herb, I also usually read this as time, T-I-M-E, time. Okay. Because those two things are very, very related, the herb time and the human element of time. And so when we were talking about the sand from the like hourglass is right, again, that line in that song, and the sand from the glass is right. That's what Spirit is trying to tell you. This is in divine timing, okay? This is part of the journey and part of the path right now. But I feel like there's a real call to, again, yes, presence, but also self-awareness of like where you fall in terms of this decision point that you're in. Is it a path of anxiety, of feeling, again, like hoarding, of needing to like find a way to survive, and there's a feeling of defensiveness and protectiveness there can be to this energy. So, is that the pathway that you take, the path of greed per se, okay, which is it's not that simple, and it's definitely not, that's not the way Spirit's communicating it, because that's not what that means, okay? It's actually like those things are usually coming out of survival strategies. It's not intentional. Okay, it's certainly not intentional. No one's like, I'm just gonna do this because that's, I want to be this way and I want to be on edge and tense and feeling like I have to hoard things. Like no one wants to be in that energy, okay? It happens because of a set of experiences we've been through ancestral kind of like patterns we've inherited from our family, from our caregivers, like all of that stuff is at play, okay? And so I think there's a real call here for you to like, again, come into the present moment, present time, to see very clearly where you are right now, to see that you have what you need, whatever that is, you have what you need, okay? Even if it's not a lot, okay? But you still have what you need for this moment, and to be just self-aware of the ways in which it feels like there's been this like pattern operating in the background. It's almost like they're showing me the lemniscat looping, but it's almost like you're not conscious of it. They're showing me the Two of Swords and the Moon card in my mind's eye. It's almost like you just haven't been conscious of the ways that there's been this sort of like grip to hold on to this. And I feel like there's a needed flow here for the abundance that you want to come in better. Okay. God, I hope this is making sense. This feels like really complex. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, this mystical land of magic and sand is more than it seems. There's actually more abundance out here than, you know, we would be led to believe. This card. Okay, King of Swords. Yes, King of Swords in reverse. Totally. Okay. All right, keep this deck. Okay. King of Swords in reverse is really interesting to me because I actually read this card, specifically the King of Swords in reverse. I read this as a card of the patriarchy. Okay, and the systems of oppression. Because in its upright version, again, kings in tarot relate to the external landscape. And so the swords in tarot relate to like that really kind of left brain, over indexing, very like rigid, very, there's a kind of Saturnian nature to this. When it's gone wrong, there's a toxic masculinity that's involved. It's like when we've gone too far into masculinity where it's overdone. That's what the King of Swords in reverse is talking about. Again, and the king speaks to the external landscape. So that's what we're seeing in the world. Okay. So this is definitely confirming all of the messages that I'm talking about. But I think there's even deeper to that. I feel like there's something here around the ways that you're kind of approaching your, or your approach to this, to your energy, whether it's financial or otherwise. It feels very guarded. There's something very guarded about the King of Swords here. And you see with the kind of like, here's the suit. Is this bear wearing a dang suit? This bear's wearing a dang suit. Y'all, what'd I say? Like this bear is wearing a suit. Do you see what I'm saying? And there's a sword. It's almost like if anybody comes near this King of Swords, there's a defensiveness. Again, remember, this came out in reverse, okay? So I just feel like there's a wanting you to look at these like deeply entrenched survival strategies, which I feel like a lot of these you inherited. I actually don't feel like this has anything to do with you directly in terms of like anything you've done purposefully. Like, of course not. That feels very clear here, okay? But I think Spirit wants you to like come into awareness and to actually see clearly kind of the ways that, again, you're in relationship with money and with your energy reserves or the flow of your energy. Do you want this card? Four of Wands upright? No, it's in reverse. Four of Wands in reverse. Yeah, because this is getting you nowhere fast. That's what I'm hearing with this card. Now, typically with the Four of Wands upright, this is a really great card upright. This card usually speaks to like coming to the finish line. It speaks about like achievement, success. It's usually, there's a little bit of celebratory energy with the Five of Wands. It's usually like, it's kind of the energy of like coming to the end of the finish line, okay? But in reverse, it's almost like you're just running and running and running and running, and there's no end in sight, okay? If you decide to take the path, like we talked about in that song of greed, which I'm going to put air quotes over, okay? If you decide to take that path, you will get nowhere fast, okay? I actually feel like this is a path you're very familiar with, okay? And not that you're greedy, not anything like that. That's not what Spirit's saying. Spirit is trying to link in the greed to survival strategies. It's trying to say like there's a set of like patterns. There's something around this Two of Pentacles with this Lemniscate. It's coming in as a pattern. It's like it's been going on forever. It just keeps going, okay? And Spirit wants you to look at it and to actually see it clearly so that way you can come out of it and you can actually come into Queen of Pentacles upright, come into the feeling of abundance, which will then show up in your outside world, King of Pentacles, okay? But you have to, I think, again, the biggest illusion we have on this planet right now is that like you have to go internally, you have to change internally for your outside to change. It does not work in reverse, okay? And so that is just so strong in this reading. Like if Spirit could shout it, there would be, but Spirit doesn't shout, so Spirit will not be shouting that. But Spirit does not shout. Spirit is very gentle and supportive in a lot of ways. There's sort of just a understanding of this is what it is, okay? And I feel like that's exactly it. It's just like this is what has been operating, but there's a real want for you to look at this Queen of Pentacles again. Okay, look, you see what I'm saying? Queen of Pentacles again. There's a real need for you to come into this sort of like matrifocal lens of the ways you see your money and on the ways that you see energy overall. And that in its abundant sense, you are able to share with others, and there's no lack, okay? There is no lack. And when you come into being of service the way that your soul really wants to, that money, that energy, that abundance just comes in. There's no question about that, okay? But you have to find it internally first, the feeling of that inside. You have to go through the storyline, the movie plot, the script in order for you to like get to it, okay? But Spirit wants you to come into this energy really, really strongly. All right, so that felt really loaded. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And thank you for sticking with me to the end here and sticking with Spirit for this message through to the end. Again, I'm just following their direction of what they're telling me. But I feel like the call here is for you to follow the direction of your soul, which is being guided to go inwards into this, to really look at like the scaffolding of what's been built that you're not seeing, that's in the background, that's keeping you stuck in a survival strategy mode. Okay? All right, because when that money comes in, when it wants to come in, it'll come in, okay? But there's still some things that need to be worked through here. All right, so I'm going to go into, I think we want to, okay, we're going to go into an extended because they definitely want an extended. We're going to do more of the shadow work here to really unearth, like, what exactly is the pattern? What can you look at? What can you heal? Like, whatever else Spirit wants to, like, bring up with this message. If you want to know more about the extended or about booking a personal reading with me, feel free to check that out in the description box below. I'm also someone who has been impacted by the Los Angeles wildfires, and I will have to move homes. So if you purchase an extended, that would actually help me if you feel like you want to support someone else in the community who's going through this experience. But again, just do it for yourself, if nothing else. I think that'd be really, really important, especially for this particular message. It feels like there's still a lot of power behind this message. There's still a lot of energy here. So we're going to go right into that. But yeah, Scorpio, I'm wishing you a lot of luck with kind of seeing and confronting sort of the survival strategies that are tied into your energy expenditure. And so, yeah, trust me, this is so relatable. I'm right there with you. I'm a Scorpio rising. So, but yeah, if I don't see you in the extended reading, I will see you at your next reading. And thanks for joining me. Okay. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.